seat.
Thank you. Do you have Huh? Okay. Cool. So, does it work? Thank you, everybody, for coming. Super happy to see some familiar faces. Okay, we're just going to let everybody come in. I'm just going to remove this.
Do you want another mic?
Okay, the slide is working? Okay, do you have...
Yeah, we're getting it.
Okay, cool. Just 1 minute. Thank you for waiting. I know we're late. We're supposed to start at 5, and now it's 5:30. So thank you for your patience. So big shout out to the team of Art Egypt. Actually, I want to say that what they've been doing is amazing. So they're a bit stressed because they have a technical issue. Yeah, but please clap for them. Now, because you're going to be amazed to see what they have done. I mean, all around Cairo, and I believe this is amazing, and I'm super happy to be here. Actually, my talk is connected to some image, so if I start and there's no image, then it will be wrong. So we're just gonna wait 1 minute. No, it's okay. Take your time. We're all good. Anybody want to come on stage to say something? No? Nobody has a joke to say? Okay, cool. No, it's fine, it's cool. You went too far. Il n'y a pas de diapo, ça commence. Yeah, no. I think you should come back to the black.
It's working. You want this
Can you come back to but you should start with the black.
black.
So,
Can you use the
how do you...
Yes.
No, how do I go back?
Yes.
So, tack.
Okay.
Okay, so we're good, ready to go? Yeah. So, imagine if somebody knock at your house and ask you to serve him like a cup of tea, and then the next day he said, if he tells you that he will come back the next day and he will ask you to feed him lunch, and then after 1 week you're gonna go to his cousin's wedding, because it happened to me. I usually knock at people's home and tell them, that I'm an artist and that I want to paint, their house. And obviously, the first day they look at me weird. They're like, "What's wrong with this guy?" The next day they're a bit curious, So they're nice. They bring you usually a cup of tea, cup of water, and after a few days they invite you to their home, So you eat, you have lunch with them, and after a few weeks, it happens that maybe they will invite you to their cousin's wedding. And actually, this is a true story. This is what happened to me a few years ago when I was in Cairo here. And so this was a wedding, you know, like from the people of Menchiet Nasser, who I did this project in 2016. You know, when people usually ask me what I love the most in my, I mean, as an artist, you know, I always say that I love the human experience, you know. Of course, the artistic challenge is important for me, but you know, what I love the most is all those little moments, you know, that I live with the people. Actually, I cherish them so much. You know, I always say that I collect them. You know, I have like this huge collection of moments. You know, and I'm here today actually to share with you some of those moments that I've lived. You know, as you know, for the people who know my work, I did one of my biggest projects in the city of Cairo a few years ago. In the neighborhood of the Cairo garbage collector, Menchiet Nasser. And Cairo didn't come as... I wanted to speak about perception, you know what I mean? So I look at different places, and Cairo has one of the most efficient, I mean, the community of the garbage collector have developed the most efficient recycling system in the world. And still, you know, even if they recycle more than 80% of what they collect, they are still segregated, marginalized, and people look at them I would say, in the wrong way. So Cairo was the perfect spot, and I came here. And I mean, I don't want to say the rest is history, but there's so much stuff I would love to share with you today. I would love to show a video before I speak, and then we will go. It's just a 2-minute video. Thank you. There's a huge echo. Big echo. Like, big echo. Yeah, it's a big echo. Bear with us, guys. I know. Sorry for the technical issue. You know, I'm gonna keep going, you know, while we're trying to fix this. So, like I said, I wanted to, you know, to raise the topic of perception, and then I knew about the community of the garbage collector, and for me it was amazing to come here. The first time I remember when I visited, I was kind of intrigued and a bit disgusted, I would say, I wouldn't lie, by the smell and by the landscape and how everything was looking. But you know, like, as an artist, I wanted to question, you know, our level of misconception sometimes we could have on people, you know, and communities that we don't know. And that was the goal of this whole project. So, does it work? No. Not the video, please. Yeah, so. That's fine. So yeah, sorry for this. So yeah, I wanted to question, you know, the level of misconception we can have on people based on the, you know, based on the idea, the wrong idea, the misjudgment, and the paradigm that we have. And for me, the Menchiet Nasser community was the perfect place to raise such a topic. So I decided to create an art piece that actually will cover the whole neighborhood, like around 52 houses. And the idea was you would be able to see the artwork only from one vantage point when you go on the top of a mountain. Yeah, okay, we have a technical issue. You know, let's keep going with the slide, maybe it will be easier. Sorry, it's a full freestyle right there. I prepared this talk, just to let you know. Juste remets les slides, Wahid. Okay, so if it works, yeah, let's do the video. Okay. So just to let you know, I'm going to speak and then we're going to start the video. So, you know, the first time I went to Manchet Nasser, my first goal was actually to start convincing the people how I would convince 52 people. It's okay? Okay, خلاص, let's go. We have the sound.
هيبقى في ايكو ده؟
Cool. Let's go back to the slide. Thank you. Maybe it's better for the slide. Yeah. So, you know, as you see in the movie, I was saying like how we will be able to convince 52% to let me paint on their houses, you know. And what was amazing, I didn't have to convince anybody, though. I only had to convince one person, who is the priest, Abuna Sam'an, as they call him over there. And it didn't take one day. It took us actually 5 months to convince him. And when he said, okay, like we had, my team and I, like a full access to the neighborhood. And you know, at the beginning of the project, it was like just building numbers. I remember the first building that we painted was the house of Ham Ibrahim, who actually was a really nice person, always like smiling, singing, and he was telling us that, you know, he never go on top of the mountain because if he stopped the garbage, I mean, he was telling us that he never stopped working, but because if he was stopping working, like, who would stop the garbage? And at the end of the project, Ham Ibrahim came on top of the mountain to see the artwork finished, and he told us, you know, that for him this was a project of peace. Me as an artist, I didn't really understand what it meant at the beginning, but then it took me some time, and then I realized what he meant, you know, because for him, like, he brought people together in a way that he didn't before. And, you know, like I said, like, the people were first building number, and I remember, like, we had the house number 3, as I call it, was the house of Amu Bakhit and Khaltu Farida, and we used to hang out there as you know, like, as we were taking our break, and that was definitely actually the place and the moment where we start sharing, not stories, you know, but where we start creating a bond with the community, and this whole adventure was full of unexpected event, you know, such as the picture just behind me was taken from the lift, you know, while I was painting one of the wall. We had like a bull who came out on the balcony. You know, as you know, the people in Manchet Nasser, they use animals to recycle the organic waste, and this is how they reach 80% of percent of recycling, so they managed to recycle more than 80% of what they collect. And so while I was painting with actually Wahid, who is here, I start hearing the sound of, not of a cow, but the sound of a bull. And then I say to Wahid, I think there is a bull, like right there. It's like, no, this is a gamusa, because we saw a lot of gamusa, like when we started the first building, there was like some gamusa. Sometimes you see a gamusa, and as you know, a gamusa, when you look at her or like at him, like they just stares at you without moving, And this gamusa was not a gamusa because, and then we saw the gamusa coming out from its room, or a room, or his room, I don't know how you say that. And then he came in front of us on the balcony. So imagine you're at the 4th floor of a building, and then you have like a bull in front of you. That was, honestly, like now I'm laughing about it, but when it happened, I was not scared. I think Wahid was scared, No, it was funny how they came and they push him out of the house. So this is Amu Ibrahim, and as I was telling you, Amu Ibrahim was saying that this project was a project of peace, and what I noticed, I call it perception because I wanted to change the perception that we have on communities that we don't know, and what I noticed is that actually their perception toward us, people, I would say, from outside, has totally changed. Now it's been 6 years, and I remember, like, we don't see, like, somebody from outside coming, and now, back in the days, like, I was always scared to bring somebody new, with me in the neighborhood, and now, like, I feel, in the past 6 months, I brought some new people, and every time, like, they meet new people, and they're so happy to welcome them. But I start questioning myself. When I realized that all this was not about. How can I explain this? Like we were all disgusted actually by the garbage. But I realized that the garbage that they're working is not their garbage. In the neighborhood they don't call them zabbalin. I know, like here in Cairo, you say Hay Zabbalin, which is a word that I hate to use, but I want to put it in the context. And Homa, in the neighborhood, what they say, احنا مش زبالين, احنا نظافة, like they are the people who clean, they are the cleaner. And they call you the zabbalin, because you are the people who produce the garbage. Sorry for that. But I have to say it, I represent for them. So, the whole idea of this project was about this, about, switching, the way we look at people, we questioning ourselves and all the paradigm, all the misconception, the stereotype that we have on people. And I realized actually the artwork itself was a perfect metaphor, of this idea, and how sometimes, you just need to switch your angle, to see somebody from with his right image, That's, yeah, I was there yesterday night, and I brought actually a friend of us there. And actually I'm going back tomorrow. I'm taking Vilma and Basma. So, like this piece is, today is gone. If you go, you can still go on top of the cafeteria. So if you want to see it from the right point of view, go see somebody called Mario, or go to the cafeteria and say that you're my cousin, or you know me, Mr. Fauzi. That's how they know me there. They will open the door of the last floor, because they close it, because after the project, people used to go to Manchet Nasser to go check it out, and the last floor actually is one of the apartments of one of the priests, and then he was like so bothered by people coming up, so he closed, the stairs, so people can only see it from like one floor down. So if you go, just take out 100 guinea from your pocket and say that you know me. But so today, the piece is almost gone, because the house on the bottom has gone up. Like almost everybody has built, like a new floor, and I think life goes on, and it was not about the art piece. The art piece was a huge challenge, and I love doing it. But what lasts is the moments that I've shared with these people, and this kind of new family. Yesterday I took for the first time my kids there, so that was funny because they were surprised to see, like, how do they know my name? Everybody knew the name of my kids, so because we're in touch constantly. So this is the essence of my work. My work is made to disappear. Like 90% of what I've created is gone. You know what I mean? And this is why I'm not attached to the artwork, but I'm attached to the stories, to the people, to the moment that I share with everyone. And there's a French writer called Eugène Ionesco. He said that, how can I say that? Seul l'éphémère dure. Only the ephemeral last, you know. And I will take this word and add in the memories, you know. And this is for me the point of what I do, making sure that I create something that will mark, I would say, mark the people that I encounter, and mark also leave my mark as an artist. This is, I think, one of the first goals as you know, when you start with graffiti, you want to leave your trace so people know who you are. But I think it's changed, you know, and I got detached from most of my work. You know, yeah, this one was in Nepal. This one is almost gone. I mean, what is interesting with these little pieces is so easy. I did a small piece like that in Cairo a few months ago, and you realize that, you know, with art, it's so easy to connect. Oh, that's an ephemeral piece as well. We know you can see it at Art d'Egypte in the Haram, but we know that in a few weeks, I don't know where we'd go. We might destroy it. So anybody wants to take it? Yeah. Yeah. But what I'm showing this, I would love, seriously, honestly, to shoot out to again to Art d'Egypte and the whole team, and, you know, and all the patron and everybody who has been supporting this amazing initiative. You know, so art is also a tool for us to change perception, as I explained it just before, but also a tool for us to bring new narratives, you know, to tell stories sometimes that we don't know, story that we never hear from, and I'm sure, like, all of you know, like the story of Romeo and Juliet, you know. Yes, nobody says no. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you, Shakespeare. You know, a few years ago, it was 2 years ago, I heard about this story of Jamil and Buthaina. I don't know if some of you know about them. No. So Jamil and Buthaina, let's say that Romeo and Juliet is the Jamil and Buthaina from the West, you know, because it happened in the 7th century. And so Jamil was a poet, and he fell in love with this woman, Buthaina. Actually, they first had an argument, and he responded to her with some poetry, and then she fell in love with him, and then he started writing poetry about her, and then the poetry gets spreaded all around the region of Wadi al-Qura, which is known as Al-Ula today. And then when the father heard that actually this poetry was addressed to his daughter, he got mad, he took it as an insult, and then he forbid their union. You know, so I wanted to take, you know, create a kind of metaphor of this love story, like this fading love story, creating a piece of art that will match exactly the color of the sand, contrary to what I'm doing today in Giza. And after I did this project, I had one guy who told me that it surprised me, actually, his reaction. He said, this is interesting to see, like, I never heard about a Arab love story. And I'm like, you know, احنا خلقنا الحب, you know, like we build the love, you know. And, you know, I mean, that's true. I mean, we're so romantic, Arab people. I'm not sure we are romantic, صح? No? You're not convinced? Guys, let's be cheesy, you know. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong to be cheesy. I mean, now we call it cheesy, but we call that being romantic, and I'm a romantic guy. So, you know, like, when this guy told me this, I was like, you know, I didn't want to judge him, because I think, you know, he has some stereotype, and we all judge people, you know, based on what we believe. And a few years ago, you know, I had the chance, actually, to install one of my art pieces at the border of North and South Korea, and I came with this kind of, I don't know, weird idea that, you know, North Korea has no sun. You know, if you think of it, or if I tell you, think of what's the weather today in North Korea, you will see like some gray clouds. Right or wrong? No? Nobody's responding. Yeah, no? I mean, that's the idea that we have, you know, because we have this, you know, we never, when you speak about North Korea, you never think of people. You never think there is human behind the name, like people with dreams and hopes, you know, and I came with all the stereotype, you know. So me, I was honestly expecting, like, to see a gray sky in North Korea and blue sky in south, but actually the sky were the same, so I was like, oh, and then, I was like, that's funny that how sometimes you dehumanize people, and I realized that art allows me to do this, like to connect with humanity. And I remember this woman, like, yeah, I love this selfie. She invited us to her house, and she offered us some apples and clementine, and she told us her story. She was married with her husband. Actually, was from North Korea, and he was working in South Korea at the time of the separation. So he was never able to go back to his family. So he left his wife and his daughter, and was never able to see them again. And so she married him, and she was telling me that every Sunday she go to church and she prayed that one day, North and South Korea will be reunited. And for me, this project allowed me to understand this. I don't know, like it broke so many stereotype and paradigm, and it brought also humanity. Like I said, I was able to humanize the people of North Korea, and I think this is what is it about. Sometimes, when you speak with people, I hate this answer. People tell me, no, I don't understand art, And today, art has been so elitist in certain places. And as an artist, I think I'm painting in the street because I believe that, art, I'm trying to democratize it, to make it available for everybody. And there is no better place than the street to do it. And you always see how people act and interact with you. For example, the piece behind me was in my hometown of Gabes in south of Tunisia. And it was a mosque that they built in '94, and they never painted it. And I used to go like every summer to Gabes, and I used to see this as the best spot ever. Like a 57-meter wall. I'm the guy standing right there. That's 10 years ago, and I remember how this artwork created so many conversations between the people. It was like post-revolution Tunisia, people with so many like different and contradictory political view, religious view. So everybody was kind of fighting in the mainstream media, and then you had like an artwork that became this kind of catalyzer, of this whole energy, and then it created a kind of stage where people were able to discuss when actually they would never meet. And when I speak about humanity, I remember this piece behind me where I was painting in Alger, in Algeria, and I was at the 7th floor of this building when the window on the top opened. And then there is a woman right there. She's like, "My son, did you have lunch?" And I'm like, "No, Khaltu, I will have lunch later." And then she handed me like a plate with couscous and dajaj, like, and I found that amazing, and I feel that, sometimes when you give value to people, they bring it back in such a beautiful way. And it's just the fact of coming to a place and showing some interest, So you have positive reaction from people, but sometimes you have a negative one. And one of the negative one is this small wall. It was in the south of Paris, and there was a city close to Disneyland. They wanted to attract the tourists to go to Disneyland, to their small village. They were like, okay, maybe some people, they can come and eat in one of the restaurants, go to the bakery. And so they asked some artists to come and paint some artwork in the village. So each owner of the houses in the village, some of them they approved, some they said no. And me, actually, the wall in white was the first one that I painted. I started painting my artwork, and as you know, I created my kind of visual language inspired by Arabic calligraphy. So the guy, I think he recognized the shape of Arabic script. So he was like, he got mad when he saw me painting. He's like, I never asked for this piece of crap. I don't want this on my wall. You need to erase it straight away. So I was like, I was mad, and that's what we did. We repainted the wall over there in white. And a week later, actually, the city, they called me back and they say, look, Fauzi, we have a wall that belongs to the city, so if you want to come paint it, you're welcome. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to come. And then I arrived there, and I realized that the wall is right in front of the guy's house. So I'm like, this is, yeah. Yeah, exactly, karma. So I was like, that's cool. So I thought, I thought twice actually of what I was going to write. Honestly, the first thought that came to my mind would be to write ala wajhak, which means on your face. And then I tried to be smarter than him, and I wrote aftah qalbak, which means open your heart. And so I think I don't know what is the reaction today, like him coming out of his house and having this piece in front of his face, and just to come back on the value, like we, as an artist, I always think, that coming to places and giving, how you say that, giving value, you, of course, he get back to you like in the most beautiful way. And there was a man in the city of Duz, right behind me. He told me, we met this guy in a cafe. He was a poet and a camel breeder, and he told me, sometimes you need somebody from outside to tell you how beautiful you are, and I realized that, sometimes you go to places, people like are amazing. For example, the people of Manshiat Nasser, shout out to them. They what they do, nobody can do it in the world. Like the city of London only recycles 17% of what they collect. So for them, like they are beginners, like débutants, amateurs. And so that's what is important for me, like realizing that sometimes when you go to places, you see something that people don't see. And I'm sure like your friend sees something in you that you don't see, and so sometimes you need like this kind of reflection. And after I left, we had the coffee with this guy, and then he stood up, he said, okay, I have to go. It was his nephew's wedding. He said something that actually that was stuck in my mind. He said, بالعربي, الإنسان الذي لا أثر له لا حياة له, which means a man who didn't leave a trace, didn't have a life. And then he left. So, like he looks like a scene of a movie, but this is exactly what happened. And he left, and actually I kept this word in my mind. I wrote them down, and the same night, and I went and I painted this word in the middle of the city. And I think as an artist, I started by wanting to leave my trace, because I wanted to leave a trace in people's life, and I realized actually it's the people that I meet, who leave a trace in my life, like you come thinking that you're gonna make an impact, and that's a funny word, because in the day we live today, like everybody want to measure stuff, Some people, they ask me, how do you measure the impact of your project? But how do we measure pride? Like for example, the people of Manshiat Nasser, they were like proud of saying, we live in the place where this big artwork was made. When people participate with me, I love to have people collaborating with me. People, they're proud of saying, I was part of this. How do you measure that? I don't know. If somebody knows, maybe you could tell me. And okay. So, just want to come back. Technical problem. So the impact of the people is, the impact of the people in my life, and the impact of, I don't know, the impact that I have in their life, I don't know what is it. And maybe one day somebody going to create an application, and I'm sure it's going to work, to measure stuff that we cannot measure. And I think, with all the projects that I've done, I realize the importance of art and the role that it has as a way, for example, of healing. I never realized it until I met this woman called Bibi Zahra. Bibi Zahra is an Afghan refugee. I met her like 2 months ago in Lesbos in Greece. Now she's in Germany. Thank God, she just after we did this project, she got her passport. So now she's not in this refugee camp. And that was so amazing to meet this woman, because she's a 75 years old woman. She left Afghanistan because one of her sons was killed, and she was cared for 2 other sons. And since she arrived in the camp, she started drawing, and she has like this kind of naive, childish way of painting that you can see on her sketches, and she paints every single day. So we met her, I think, the first day on a Wednesday, and I came back on the Friday to see her, and the first day she showed me so many sketchbooks, and after 2 days she already have made 2 new sketchbooks, and she keep on painting. And so I'm like, Bibi Zahra, I came back to see her, and I say, why don't we make a piece together on the wall? Well, she looked at me, she's 75, she's like, yeah, let's do it. She said that in Farsi. I mean, we had the translator, so I don't know how you say that. Let's do it in Farsi. And so she, with a pen, she just started drawing, on the mobile home of her neighbor. So we asked our neighbor, which was actually in front of her house, and she started drawing a flower, like with so much confidence, And you see, she was standing some time to paint on this kind of metallic bed with no fear. And then I told her, you trace your artwork, and me, I will come and fill up the letter, fill up the color. And so she was checking on me like all the time to make sure I was not making any mistake, And we're doing a project. Actually, we're gonna release soon a print with her about this artwork we did together, and yeah, thank you. And she asked me to write in Farsi, so like I will look. I speak Farsi, but I don't. Calligraphy that say Amid Behi Zindagi, which means hope for life. So she wanted me to write this, and she had hope for life, because a few days later she had her passport, and even her son got approved. So, but her son is still in the camp, and this is actually the kind of story, that as an artist make me want to do more and keep doing what I do. Because of all those moments, all those little stories. I'm sure like this wall after some times will be erased or painted over, or like the mobile home will be destroyed, But you give this feeling of pride, And I remember this woman in Nepal. We did this project in a village that was destroyed by the earthquake in 2015. And this group of women have been rebuilding their own house, So after the earthquake, they got trained into construction work. So they know how to build houses, and they created those workshops where they build earthquake-resistant bricks, stuff that you can build. You can build a house as a Lego, and so we created this artwork. We created a big artwork in their village in September 2021. But the day we finished, what is this, guys? You see, no, there's something super cool after this. Please, technical support. Technical support requested. Okay, I can see my friend Ammar over there. Ammar, Habibi. Oh, can you help us? واحد tu peux checker? واحد tu peux checker? Ah, okay. Okay. Okay, there's a slide I want to show. That's the most important slide I want to show. Okay, we try again. Okay, so actually the slide that I wanted to show disappeared. Okay, this is sad. So this art piece was made of bamboo and fabric. So we connected the houses between together, and the day we finished the artwork, there was a storm. That destroyed everything. Like most of the bamboo, they fell off. And it was crazy to see how the woman, they just, in a few hours, me honestly, I was like, khalas, we're done. That's part of it. It's made to disappear. In a few hours, they just build it back and put it as it was. And now it's not there yet. I mean, not there anymore because it's been more than a year. But this is the feeling of pride, that I try to instill in all my projects. Like you have the ownership of the piece. And when you bring the people, the community and you give them this ownership, they try to preserve their art piece as much as, as they can. And then at the end it disappears. But what lasts is, it's all those moments that I keep collecting. Voilà. Thank you. This is it. I can see Nadine. Please, a big shout out to Nadine Abdel Ghaffar, the head of Art Egypt. She is the boss. Honestly, I want to say that publicly, Nadine. I'm sorry but what she has been doing, I've been following the first edition last year, and now I'm part of it. It's insane what she has done. Her and the team is crazy, and they're like a small team of young people And I think she has created a movement, that a lot of people will follow, I think, in Egypt and in the Arab world and hopefully outside as well. So thank you, Nadine. Big shout out to the team, yeah. So we have question answer or like, halas, I go home? Ah, yeah, okay. Okay, sure. Okay, anybody has a question? Don't be shy. I know there's some people that I know. Yeah, so should I? Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Wow. That's such a difficult question. I think I might look arrogant when I say that, but I try to come with so much confidence in what I do, even if I'm like so much fear inside of me. And even like with Art Egypt, like I cannot tell you the background of the story. But good or bad, I try to, if people say, oh, we love your work, it's amazing, this is cool, you know what I mean? But if somebody criticizes my work, it's cool as well. I don't want to take it personally, because I think then you open the door to so many stuff. But I think the best, I think I will take that further. I think the best advice that somebody gave me, and I think is shaping the way I look at the world today, is a friend of mine called Quentin. He said that in 2002. He told me, like, you never have twice the chance to give a first impression. And I think this is my motto, so sometimes, as an artist, I create something and I'm like, this doesn't work, you know what I mean? I don't want to come with this. I would never, for example, Art Egypt, I don't think you have twice in your life the chance to put an artwork in front of the pyramid. So you really want to come with the best thing that you can provide. So this is it. What's your name? Layla. Nice to meet you, Layla. Another question? Yeah. Okay. What's your name?
Amira.
Amira, she asked me if I usually need the permit or government approval. So we're in Egypt, so I'm not going to say anything. Manshiat Nasser, there was no government approval. So it was made totally under radar. Like the only approval that we had was the blessing of Abuna Saman. And then after, I think there was I think I will say that in private. But usually I always say that if you go to the administrative way, it always take more time than go to the street way, and sometimes I say to myself, it's better to get caught up and explain yourself than try to explain yourself so they can let you do it. So, but mainly in the Arab world, I say like in Europe or in North America, it's difficult to explain yourself, but I think in most of I would say like Middle East and Asia and Africa, when you do something without authorization, if you have the right mindset and the right way to speak with the people, nothing happens, and I like this kind of freestyle thing as well. Yeah. We have Nadia. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Est-ce que c'est vous qui décidez de votre
Okay.
projet ou bien vous êtes invité pour cela?
Okay.
Ça, c'est la première question.
Okay. So Nadia, she's asking, what was the question? No, she's asking, how do I decide how to create my art? It's like me who decide where I want to go and create what I want to do, or if people, they ask me to come. So there is two ways, as an artist, it always like start with a theme. So I want to speak about something, and then I try to find the right place that will fit this theme or the subject that I want to speak about. Then there is the theme, then the place, then the aesthetic, how the piece will look like, and then because I work with language, what I use, what words I'm gonna use. So this is always those 4 steps. Perception was exactly this. I wanted to tackle the topic of perception, so I found Cairo and the garbage city. Then I was like, how can I portray this idea of looking at people from the right angle? So the anamorphic piece was the perfect thing. And then the word of Saint Athanasius, who said, anyone wants to see the sunlight clearly, need to wipe his eyes first. So that was the last step. So it's always like that. But then sometimes I have people who reach out to me and they're like, I would like to commission you for an artwork. So if the subject is interesting to me, of course, in the place and there is something to create, I do that. And that's how those commission artwork what pay my personal project. For example, Manchet Nas is a self-funded project. There is no sponsor in it, nothing. I have just a friend of mine who produced with me the movie that we made out of it, but except that there is nothing behind that. So, yeah. Yes? Where I'm going next? I think I'm going to feed my kids. I'm joking. We working in a big, I don't know if I should speak. Wahid, je peux mentionner? No, so Wahid is like, yeah. No, I like to keep it, I love to keep surprises. I think there is I don't like to speak about stuff that I didn't do. Not, some people will say like it's because of Ain or like you don't want to be curious of stuff. It's not like that. I feel that the more you speak about something you didn't do, the more you feel that you did it. And then you start believing in your lie. Like when people keep saying something. So that's why. But we have like cool stuff coming and so, yeah. But we have something right now in Egypt. Yeah. Have a question? Tell me. Okay, my son is asking me, what is the best art piece I did? C'est bien. So I would say, il n'y a pas d'œuvre préférée. Chaque œuvre a sa valeur. Yeah.
Aslem.
So
you have the Tunisian crew here.
Okay, Tunisian
We're
gang.
all students here at AUC.
Nice to meet you guys, Sharafna.
Yeah, so I think my question was like, what's inspired you to do what you do, and especially focus on using language, and especially Arabic language in your art, and also this idea of perception? Thanks.
It's I think it was a quest of identity. Me, I was born and raised in France from Tunisian parents, so I always had this conflict of not knowing if I was French, not knowing if I was Tunisian. In the summer when I used to go to Tunisia, people used to call us les chez nous là-bas. Chez nous là-bas in English is at home there. So I used to say that my land was Tunisair, the airline company, the 2 hours and 30 that I used to spend in the flight. And then I felt like she was coming from both sides, because in Tunisia, back in the days, they used to tell us, what do you prefer? Every summer, do you prefer France or Tunisia? The same question. And and one of my cousin, I remember, she used to say, I prefer France because there is swings. I was like, and now she's 40, and we're like, yeah, you prefer France because there is swings in France. But so it was a quest of identity, and I think I felt that at some point people pushed me to choose, either being French or Tunisian, and I think because of my name and my parents' name, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm Tunisian, 100%. And so that's why I decided to go and learn Arabic and learn how to read and write, and that's how I discovered calligraphy. But I was doing graffiti at some point, and then when I merged calligraphy and graffiti at the same time, I realized that I will never be able to do what I'm doing today if I was not French as well, because for me, like calligraphy and Arabic script was so exotic, you know what I mean? Like some people who are born in Cairo, for them, like, Saadi, there is nothing special about it. But me, because it was something new, I was like, wow, this is so cool, And then I realized that, it brought my two cultures together. And now today, I don't claim myself, French or Tunisian as an artist. People, they ask me, as a French Tunisian artist. And I'm like, maybe I'm Egyptian. Yeah. No, seriously, you don't know. Like, seriously, it's me Fauzi, like Fauzi. There's a lot of Fauzi in Egypt. Yeah. That's true.
But why aren't you including me? I'm more Egyptian than you are. And I said, yeah, he's right.
Thank
so
you,
when
Nadine.
we took over the pyramids, that was the decision to include artists from around the world.
Thank you, Nadine.
So it was thanks to you.
Merci. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Pardon? Ouais, non, mais je suis français aussi. No, ouais, en fait, c'est ça. And I tell you something. Sometimes on Twitter, you have a fight between French and Tunisian. if something will happen, like I launch a new thing, the French artist, and then people are like, no, it's not French, it's Tunisian. So I leave it to them. Honestly, today I define myself, when people say, where are you originally from? I always ask, like, historically or geographically? So historically, if there was not the Second World War, I don't think my dad would have come to France. So maybe I would be born in Gabes. If there was like the French colonization, if France didn't come to Tunisia, it was maybe Italy who came to Tunisia, maybe my dad would have gone to Italy. So I think we're not made of places, we're made of history and stuff that just are combined together. That's how I look at it today. So, I'm like everything. I'm Italian when I'm in Italy, I'm Masri when I'm here, I'm Nepali when I'm in Nepal, so, I'm still attached to my hometown of Gabes and Paris as well. Yeah.
Hello. First of all, I just want to tell you how much whatever you said on identity resonates a lot with me. I'm French Egyptian, so it's exactly the same struggle word by word. So you were discussing about perception, right? And we know how art resonates with each one of us in a different way. Have you ever felt misunderstood, other than the fact that you're using Arab calligraphy, etc.? Have you ever felt that you, on an individual level, your art was misunderstood or misinterpreted?
Yeah, I think it's a process, because as I said at the beginning of the talk, you come to a place and you're like, I'm an artist, I want to create something, and people look at you, they don't really understand. For example, when I met Abuna Saman here, like the first time, he was like, ليش? I was like, مش عارف. هنرسم. I was like, ليش? Like he couldn't understand why. I was like, who's gonna pay? I'm like, me. Or ليش? So and you cannot explain this kind of thing that takes you as like, I need to go and do it. You know what I mean? And so I think times allows people to understand. And when you spend time with people in a place, like they realize, they're like, oh, actually, like, yeah, this is cool what you're doing. Even if they don't really understand, you know what I mean? They say, oh, it's beautiful. For them, it's like, and you beautify places. When you come to a place, you highlight them. And this is, that's what they see. I remember we were doing this project almost 10 years ago in Tunisia. And so we were crossing the whole country, and there was a city in south of Tunisia called Qasr Haddad. And I entered the city, and like in Tunisia, we say like you enter a place with its people. So I always used to go to the cafe. I come to a cafe, and I'm like, hey guys, there is a wall over there, like the entrance of the city. I would like to paint it. I'm an artist. And the guy's like, okay, go paint. So I'm painting, and then there is an old man that comes like screaming. He's come with his nephew. He's like, hey, why are you painting on my wall? Do you think I'm dead for you to paint here? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about being dead? Or I'm just painting. It's like, and I say like, I get the authorization from this guy at the cafe. He's like, no. This is my nephew. This belongs to me. It's not shared yet between the family. So I'm like, okay. So I say, Ammo, like, let me just finish it. I finish my painting. I take a picture, and then I paint it back in white. And then he's like, okay. So he left. I finished my artwork. And then he sent his nephew. He's like, actually, Ammo, like my uncle, he liked the artwork, and he's asking you if you don't want to paint another place we have. So it's the process. This one was like really fast, but it's always the process, like how people, they take time sometimes to understand, the purpose. And also the impact also of what you do, they see it later on. Manshiat Nasser, people, they saw it when people start going to Manshiat Nasser. Me have some friend of mine, Amar can tell you, he went with me there. He told me like, and he was surprised to see the place like that, and me like, we're chilling. People are like you and I. Just we have the wrong image on them, and yeah, that's it. Yes?
So you were saying that it's not, sometimes the art will be defeated, but the moment it will not be. How you still have such a face in your heart that it will be.
I take it as a kind of little flame, that you have to make sure that it keeps burning. Of course, as an artist, sometimes you have like you're up and down. Sometimes you're like kind of, I don't want to say lack of inspiration, and you have like this white sheet in front of you. You don't know what's going on. But, it's just like short period of time, and so as an artist, you always have to feed yourself. You know what I mean? Feed yourself by meeting people, reading books, seeing stuff, and getting inspired. And that's the most important thing, being inspired, and otherwise you get expired. Oh, that was good. This one is good. Okay, write it. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay, one last question, and I think we should turn off. Last one. Halas. Yeah. Thank you for coming. Can you repeat? Oh, yeah. Sure. Definitely. So it's called Secret of Time. And so the artwork that I created, I wanted it to be a kind of immersive experience, not like me coming and dropping an artwork and having the pyramid on the background. I really wanted people to interact with it. So we all know up to 2022, nobody knows how the pyramid were how the pyramid were built. So I play with this idea of mystery and secret, and what is more mysterious than the hala'in? Like you see like the habal that you have like in the salon and the barber shop, you always like wonder what's happening behind, right or wrong. And so that's the idea actually behind this, like you wonder what's happening behind. And so when you come in front of the art piece, the pyramid are right behind it. You know what I mean? You can see them through the ropes, but you just come and open the gate and it's like, and this morning that was funny, we had a group of patrons who came to see the art piece. And so I was telling them, but they didn't see that you could open the door. And I'm like, let me take you through the artwork. And the pyramid are right behind. And so I come and I open the door. It's like, oh, wow. And the funny part, they go through the gate, they take the picture of the pyramid, and then they could come out from the side of the sculpture, but they come back from the gate. And one woman said like, oh, let me come back to the real world. That was funny. So yeah, that was the thing. And the last step, the words, I use a quote from Radwa Ashur who said, time doesn't disclose its secret to humankind. So that was the idea behind it. Yeah. So I think we're good. Halas. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Cool.
Merci.
Merci à toi, Nadine. Yeah, shout out to Nadine, please. Again.
Thank you. Now we have Faris El-Aed, Regional Director of Meta in the MENA region. Please.